Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Really glad to have this young lady back. It's Ruthie Blum. She, of course, is from JNS. It's .org, is it not, Ruthie?
It is.
Okay, you're also the co-host of Israel Undiplomatic. You're the senior contributor at JNS. We love JNS and we love you. Glad to have you back. How are you?
I'm great, especially since you called me a young lady.
Well, that's what you are to me. It's great to see you. Immediately when the election happened, we saw Benjamin Netanyahu put out a Twitter post, an X post, and he was smiling. He was there. I believe it was him and his wife and President Trump and Melania. And it was just a long thing about congratulations, looking forward to working with you. Zelensky put out a big long thing on X, can't wait to work with you. The whole world sort of shifted that night, didn't it?
It did, but for different reasons.
Okay.
Each person and each country that congratulated him and kissed up to him did so for certain interests, let's put it that way. Whereas I think Netanyahu did it genuinely.
Well, I think so too, because they've got a good friendship, and the Middle East was peaceful when Trump was the president. That's first and foremost, right?
Well, absolutely. I'll tell you, you want to know the biggest irony. When Trump was running the first time, many Jews were concerned. I'm talking about Jews who wanted to vote for him, not the Jews who would never vote Republican. Were concerned because he was talking a little bit like an isolationist. And so the idea, and in the past, isolationists were always bad for Israel.
Right.
Well, then he became president, and every single policy he implemented, foreign policy, was helpful to Israel, was pro-Israel, was pro-Western.
Right.
The U.S. had never been a better ally to Israel and the West in general. And, he ripped up the Iran deal. He did many, many things. And then we said, oh, well, if that's what you call isolationism, then we're for it,
Right.
So this time around, because he's had much experience and 4 years in between, he's also talking in a way that might be misconstrued as isolationism. Okay, you got to end the wars, no more wars. I stop wars, I don't start wars. But this time, I would say we understand it better. Because whereas the Biden administration has been yelling ceasefire, ceasefire since practically October 7th, before Israel even entered Gaza,
right.
in the ground incursion, the Biden administration was saying, don't go in, don't do this, don't do that, and has been yelling ceasefire ever since. Whereas Trump has been saying, finish it. Get it done. And what he means is get it done quickly, win the war, and end it. All right? There's a big difference.
No, there's a huge difference. It's Ruthie Blum. Go to @Ruthie Blum, BLUM is her last name, over on X. You're the one that educated me that ceasefire is a bad word. And it is, because that tells Israel, don't worry about the attack. You don't have to worry about finishing the job. You don't need victory. Just have peace or a ceasefire or something like that. I like that you said that isolationism looks like a bad thing, but it's really not, as long as it's backed up with an iron fist if you need it. If you have to wake the sleeping lion or tiger or bear or whatever it is, then when you do, there's going to be hell to pay. So I think Trump sending like a picture of the Taliban leader's house to the Taliban leader said, we're not going to intervene. We're going to be isolationists until you do something stupid. 1 ounce of blood and we'll come and get you. When it came to the Middle East, you're right. It sounds scary that he wants to be an isolationist, but I think it's really more of a hands-off kind of things that we will intervene if we have to. Now let's talk about the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris administration that have been interventionists everywhere. They keep on putting their fingers on everybody's thumb, or they're thumbing their heads with the power of the might of the United States, and the whole world is burning down. So we really did learn the lessons of 8 years now, Trump's 4 and Biden's 4.
Well, exactly. And let's not forget Obama's 8.
Right, exactly right.
Relevant
of appeasement, right?
Appeasement, and America is not better than any other country, and leading from behind. Now, Obama's 8 are very relevant to Biden's 4, because basically the Biden administration was a clone, almost literally, even with many of the same people. And with respect to Iran in particular, wanting to get back to the Iran deal, wanting to refund and doing so, UNRWA, undoing all kinds of policies that
Right.
were really, really important in the Middle East. And as you've seen, all hell has broken loose since Biden took office.
Yes.
So, and the other thing is, Israel never expected this whole war. We didn't expect American troops on the ground. It's
Right.
not that. Um, but but what we did expect from an ally was not to tie our hands behind our backs when we were on the front lines of an enemy that's an enemy of the entire West. And then making it impossible for us to win the war quickly. It's terrible. We would have won this war already had it not been for the Biden administration.
Well, first of all, holding back, the weapons that you all needed, and
Exactly.
at the same time enriching the bad guys in Hamas. When we sent all this aid and all this money over there, they didn't give it to the people. Hamas kept it. We saw them going on the trucks and taking the stuff. We see the stupid pier that we built for $300 million that keeps on floating away. It just didn't seem to make any sense. And recently, and you probably have seen this, it's Ruthie Blum at RUTHIEBLUM over on X. She's also a host on JNS TV and the senior contributing editor. I don't know if you saw this news story. I think Newsweek or somebody was running it. Maybe it wasn't Newsweek, some online rag. And they said the headline was, Hamas calls for an end of the war now since Trump has been elected. Well, that wasn't really truthful. Well, if you read the story, Hamas wants a ceasefire. They want a rightful country to call their own, and they want the capital to be Jerusalem. So, I mean, there's really no change there. These are people who are trying to say, hey, Trump, we don't want war anymore either, but give us all this stuff.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And,
So what happens now?
well, I'll tell you, I can't tell you what is going to happen. I know that this is a lame duck period, a very, very delicate period, because Obama, during his lame duck period, he really socked it to Israel by not vetoing a UN Security Council resolution that was very hostile. And we have other UN Security Council resolutions coming up, and who knows how Biden is going to respond to those. What we do know is that the administration in Washington has given us an ultimatum about weapons and aid, saying three things that Israel has to do or else. One is get more humanitarian aid into Gaza because you're starving the Gazans, which is a lie, by the way. Right now, there are 900 full trucks sitting at the border that the UN agencies have not picked up, making it impossible to get the new trucks in. That's number one. And anyway, the humanitarian aid, let me just say, the humanitarian aid, as you pointed out, goes really to Hamas.
Right.
A second demand is that the Hamas prisoners that Israel captured, the ones it didn't kill, the Red Cross should be allowed to visit them. And this is outrageous. The Red Cross wasn't allowed to visit the hostages this whole time.
Right.
These hostages have been since last October 7th in Gaza, and the Red Cross has not visited them once. All right, that's one thing. And the third thing was the United States is upset that Israel banned UNRWA from its offices in Jerusalem. UNRWA has been proven to be an arm of Hamas.
Right.
Now, this is outrageous. What can I say?
Well, Ruthie, I want to ask you this, and maybe you've got a good answer. Maybe you're as confused as I am. Why is it that Israel always has different rules? The bad guys get one set of rules. They can do anything they want, and it's not called a genocide. It's not called, xenophobic or evil or bigoted or racist or anything. But if Israel says, well, let's go get the bad guys, you guys have to not do anything. The rules seem to be different. Like you said, yeah, we're supposed to let Red Cross in to come and check on the Hamas hostages. Where is the reciprocation that you can't go and send somebody in to see what's going on with the Israelis and Americans that are being held by Hamas? So historically, why is that? Why do we always seem to appease the bad guys at the detriment of the good guys?
Well, the short answer to why historically Jews and Israel are treated to a different standard is anti-Semitism. But anti-Semitism doesn't explain all kinds of foreign policies from the United States. It's not that every single administration in America has been anti-Semitic. That's
Right.
not true.
Right.
Nor is Biden an anti-Semite.
Right.
But I have to say, there's an official definition of anti-Semitism. The International Holocaust, it's the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism that many states in the United States have adopted, and the international community has adopted, etc. And according to that definition, treating Israel as the collective Jew, in other words, treating Israel to a double standard, that's one definition of anti-Semitism. If you hold it to any different standard than any other country. Now, you can see the irony at the UN. I mean, the UN is just a ridiculous body altogether, because basically it has, you can have Iran sitting on the Human Rights Council, and that it's a joke, really.
Right.
But when you ask, why does the United States treat its closest ally in the Middle East this way? Well, the answer is that in administrations like the Obama administration and the current one, which is really a repeat of the Obama administration, I think the answer is that these are people who also don't believe in American power. They don't believe in American victories. They don't believe that America should be the greatest superpower in the world. And Israel is, as it is in Iran's eyes, right, the small Satan to America's great Satan.
Right.
I think that the left in America sees it that way too. What they hate about Israel, they also hate about America.
It's unbelievable to me that there is this double standard. I really believe what you said earlier, and it's Ruthie Blum. Go to RUTHIEBLUM over on X. Go check her out on jns.org. I really, truly believe that Israel could have ended this war quickly and could have had a quick victory had it gotten what it thought it would get from its friend in the United States, and had Hamas. Listen, you know what the rule should have been? Okay, we will take out the entirety of Gaza unless Hamas turns itself in. That should have been the ultimatum. And Israel can do that. I don't want it to do that. You don't want it to do that. I get that. But how do you say victory looks like this when your closest ally is saying just end it, just cease it? I don't know what you do with that. And we can go on probably for 3 hours on that. And I do want to say one thing. I agree that it's a clone of Obama and it's a replica of Obama. But I want to go a step further and say it's really a continuation. Because Obama did really, really bad things internationally and a lot of bad things to hurt our reputation as an exceptional country. But I think this was a continuation almost on steroids. Because as you said, every single person, it seems, that was with Obama is in this administration. And you and I both know, don't tell anybody, Obama's been calling all the shots.
Well, certainly he's been calling the shots since Biden became inflicted with dementia.
Yes.
So certainly Kamala Harris wasn't running anything.
No, not a chance. But trust me, nobody watching and listening thinks that she was running it either. Ruth, I don't want to run out of time. You're in Israel, and I love Israel, although I haven't gone. I had an opportunity once, but I didn't get on the plane, and I should have. I had some scheduling issues, but I want to come. What was the reaction? I guess it was early Wednesday morning in Israel when you found out Trump's on the way back. Was there jubilation on both sides? Because it doesn't matter really what your politics are in Israel. I think you want Trump over Biden all day.
Well, there was great countrywide elation.
Good.
But I will say the far left in Israel thinks of Trump the way the far left in Israel thinks of Netanyahu. They're opposed to...
You can't put that aside so that you can have a victory in this war, really?
Really? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, the far left, again, I'm not talking about all the left in Israel.
I understand.
The far left in Israel thinks that there is some justification, though they don't say it that way, some do say it that way, to the atrocities of October 7th. Those people say we have to look inward because after all, we're occupying the Palestinians. Never mind that we haven't occupied, I'm going to say that in air quotes here, occupied Gaza since 2005. And the other territories are not occupied, they're disputed.
Right.
And again, it's all because of terrorism that we even have to have military presence there, which we didn't even have in Gaza, which is how this whole thing happened. But the Israeli version, let's say, of the New York Times is called Haaretz. And the Haaretz publisher very recently just said it outright, that we're at fault and that we're committing genocide and apartheid.
Wow.
Yeah, and his columnists, many columnists at that newspaper, basically say that, yeah, listen, rape and beheading and all that is terrible and it's bad, but, you know, Israel is also, you know, committing war crimes. It's horrific. But listen, you know people like that in America as well.
Yes,
okay,
we
so,
do.
you know, Israel has there are many parallels between Israel and America, except that Israel can less afford it since we're a tiny country surrounded by enemies, you know, launching rockets at us from every direction.
It is Ruthie Blum. You know, I believe in free speech, complete free speech, because I think more speech can drown that out if you need it. But to be that stupid and be successful, I would think most Israelis, most Jews would say, I'm not going to give them my money to go read their paper. I'm not going to go online and subscribe. But it sounds like some do. And again, I'm not about shutting them down or censoring, but hopefully people will listen to what you say and what I say and realize that more speech that is better than that can at least combat that sort of disgusting. It's like what you said about Obama. He went around the globe and apologized for the United States. We have made mistakes. We have done wrong. We need to repent. The guy was nuts. And it sounds like you've got the same forces there. Ruth, I got to talk to you for 4 hours. If you don't mind, just give me a closing statement on what's going to happen between now and January 20th. They won't start trying to do more terrorism before Trump takes over, will they?
Well, they already are, you know, they're just rockets. I have to tell you, today we had many people wounded in severe rocket fire from Hezbollah. So I don't know what you mean by that, but I'll tell you something. Right now, it is a very delicate period. And when you ask me what's going to be going on right now, I believe it's a chess game. Israel is playing a chess game, trying not to antagonize the Biden administration on the one hand and counting the minutes until Trump takes over on January 20th.
Ruthie, I appreciate your time. Let's do it again soon. Stay safe, and good times are to come after Trump takes back over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe.
You bet. Go and follow her now, Ruthie Blum, over on X, and we're back after this. Stay here.